Hello, this is Vdub99 here, and I thought I'd do a little thing on my license plate collection. I have Rhode Island plates from 1904 to 2009, and then I ran out of room. And the first one in the corner is 499, and that was a 1904 plate. And that went through 1907. And then the next Rhode Island plate was the 8640RI. That plate went from 1908 to 1911. And then you'll see the next one says RI 10324. That was the last porcelain plate that they used, and it was from 1912 to 1917. And next I have a bunch of 320 plates, which were all my great-grandfathers. And they have the years, the years are right out on them pretty well. The plates were embossed every year up until the 1940s, and then when the war came, they started using tags. The 1926 and 27 plate were my grandfather's first plates when he was 16. And then as you can see that they are, they changed them every year. They'd go black on white and white on black, and they'd switch back and forth every year up until we get to the Second World War in 1942. There was no 43 plate. They had a windshield sticker. We're coming up 1942, and then the 43 is missing, and then after that, the next few years, they used a tag on top of the 42 for 44, 45, and half of 46. And then they come out with the aluminum plate and the half of 46 and 1947. And that also started Rhode Island with the 6 by 12, 6-inch by 12-inch plate, which was standardized. The U.S. government wanted all states to have the same size. And Rhode Island was one of the first to do it. And by 1955, they were all doing it. Another standout plate is the Tennessee 1952 plate, because it's shaped like the state. And Kansas did it as well. They had one 1954. You can see the corner there is cut so it's shaped like the state. And Rhode Island used tags, and they would switch back and forth every year. As I said before, white with the black letters and black with the white letters. And they did that till they got into the 60s, and then they started changing. Again, they'd have one plate that had, it was embossed with 57. The next year they just put a black and white tag over it, metal tags. And there was my grandmother's plate in 59, and in 60 it was my grandfather's plate. And the second one down, the FW504, was my grandfather, my mother's side. That was his plate. And another unique plate we had is 1962 from New Hampshire. It says, "Are you okay?" And that was a my great uncle, who was a pharmacist in New Hampshire. And I got a bunch from another relative in New Hampshire that says Pogo, and I really don't remember what that stood for, but I got that for quite a few years. There's my grandfather's plates again in 62 and 63. And another standout plate was VW2 for 1966. I got that. I worked at Speedcraft from 1978 till 2007. And the last owner, they were throwing everything out, and I got that plate. You know, the original owner that I worked for, he had VW2, VW3, VW4, VW5. He wanted VW1, but a lawyer in Providence had it and wouldn't let him have it, so we never got it. And by this time, all the Rhode Island plates, they had sticker, you know, they had a sticker every year, and oh, they changed the plates from time to time, but there's no rhyme or reason. You know, these were the Discover plates. And I had another one was my other uncle. He had URIFD, which stood for the University of Rhode Island Fire Department, because that's where he first became a fireman and later went to Narragansett. And as we move around here, we get to High 914. That was my first plate on my 74 Beetle. And after I wrecked it, I got another 74 Beetle from Speedcraft, which had the DU850 plate. And this plate here I had on another car, and Rhode Island decided that that was obscene and made me relinquish the plate, and I had to get another plate because they didn't, they said that was obscene. My grandfather's last license plate on a 68 Beetle before he moved to Florida. And this was my friend's wife plate, her initials she put on her plate. And ZK25 was on my 69 Corvette. You know, a lot of these plates I traded, not Rhode Island plates, but the plates underneath I traded Rhode Island plates, because I used to be able to get them very easily from Speedcraft when somebody traded in a car and they didn't want their plates. Back then, you know, Rhode Island didn't care. You know, you just toss them away, they didn't care. But now you have to turn the plates in. You can't, it's very difficult to get plates now. And those are from the 90s. And we're at 99, we're hitting 2000. And as we come back over this way, I get to 2009 around the corner, and that's as far as I go right there. For the plates hanging up on the ceiling. I do have, you know, there's other plates here. Some are this Connecticut. That's a porcelain plate from 1919. That's a pretty valuable plate. On in Nevada, that was also my uncle when he retired and moved to Nevada. He was in the fire department, and he had the, somehow got the letters RI on it, but that was his plate as well. But I've put up a lot of, you know, plates that I've collected from other, they're all random. After the run, Rhode Island run at the top, all the other plates are random. And over on this wall, I have the 50 states. Up over the doorway, you can see, I zoom in, they got Washington DC and then Alabama. They all go in order. The Kodiak plate from Alaska, which is kind of a rare plate. And then we've got all the, you know, they're all pretty much in order. And you can see the Fafenugan sign that I got from Speedcraft hanging up there as well. That's a Rhode Island sailboat plate. Was kind of valuable because of, you know, the rarity of it. I don't know if they still have that plate available or not. And then the plates down at the bottom here, that one there is from South Africa. I traded for a guy, and the next one over is from Australia. And then the NB13LJ, that one is from the Netherlands. The one above it, I don't know where it's from. I never could find out where it came from. And another RI porcelain plate thrown in there. And the WOBE547 is a Wolfsburg plate from Wolfsburg, Germany, that I recently got from online from a German person. And these two here are England. I got out of the junkyard in England when I went to England, because there the plates stay on the car from the dealership until the car's in the junkyard, and you can't take them off until it's in the junkyard, and I don't think you're even supposed to do that, but I did. On this wall we have a bunch of dealer plates, starting with dealer number 1, which was Fred W. Smith when they first opened. And later on, they became number 26 when Rhode Island redid all the dealership numbers. The Pennsylvania ones, somebody gave me those. I really don't know much about them. But the 26 was from Fred W. Smith, and they bought Speedcraft. They were the second owners of Speedcraft, and that's how, you know, the owner of Fred W. Smith gave me all the old dealer plates that he had. And of course I got a couple from Speedcraft, which is 254A and K and G. They didn't have too many laying around. You're supposed to cut them in half and send them back to the state, but we never did. And I got a temporary plate from Speedcraft and a state plate from the state. And that's about it for there. And over on this door we have a lot of motorcycle plates, starting up at the top there. The 1960 motorcycle plate that says 1994, that was my grandfather's, and the 1889, I believe that was my father's. And he also had 7226. And B663, that was also my grandfather's. That was on his Harley from his young days. And the 1980 plate, Rhode Island, that was mine. And the 4 on the end were all mine. And then I've got all but 8 states. I've had a lot of trouble trying to get the other 8 states. And that's about it for license plates. Thank you.